You're listening to the Money Pig Podcast, brought to you by Goodwin Investment Advisory, where our mission is to lead people to financial peace, independence, and generosity. I'm your host, Reed Trigo, joined today by GIA retirement consultant, Tara Bruce, for a conversation about our brand new program. Welcome, Tara.
Woohoo! I'm so excited to talk to you guys about this.
We need applause. This is all exciting. Our regular listeners are probably like, we've heard that crowd before. It's the same crowd.
Yes.
Okay, but no, this is exciting. It's called Retire by Design, right?
Yes.
Brought to you by our actual retirement consultant, you.
Yes, and I'm really excited about launching this program because this is a pain point that so many people were calling in when I was doing intro calls, and it was a consistent theme I kept hearing. I'm scared of retirement. And one of our clients specifically said, she said, I have plenty of money, but I'm scared to death to retire.
Yeah.
And for me, I was like, ooh, I wonder let's get to the bottom of that. Let's figure out what are these pain points? What's causing her to be afraid to retire? And how can we help other clients that are experiencing the same fear or even non-clients?
Absolutely. And I can relate to this because I've been fortunate. I sold a business and I call it a pretend practice retirement.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I know I'm not going to not work forever, but I'm going to try for a while. And I actually figured, maybe I can get away with this for like a couple years. 8 months in, done. And it wasn't that I was so bored. It wasn't so terrible. I mean, I got a lot of house projects done. Fortunately, our basement flooded, so I got to kind of general contract the repairs and all that. And there was stupid stuff that kept me busy. But truly, after a while,
you got through that honey-do list.
Yeah, you get through it and you realize all my playmates are working. What good is this? I kind of gave up golf. Everybody talks about playing golf all the time. You can't. Some people do, but I don't think you can play enough to keep you happy. And then the second practice pretend retirement was a terrible idea, but didn't think so at the time. But it happened to be start of 2022 when the market starts dropping. You're tanking.
Right. Yeah,
you're thinking,
timing.
okay, I'm going to pull out investment income and I'm going to live on that. And the market's dying. So you're stealing money from your current assets. It's declining in value. You're stealing money from what should grow in 20 or 30 years. It was a bad plan. That one, I was not healthy. Mm-hmm. And that was partly because I wasn't financially ready.
Right. And then it feeds into all those financial fears like, do I have enough money to retire and is it going to last?
That's
and
right.
You were wondering, is my money going to last after 2022?
I was like, it's not.
Yeah.
It was pretty clear. So anyway, we're going to talk about some of the whys on this, but just listen to the end. We'll tell you how you can get signed up on this. But if you're just chomping at the bit right now, you can just call our office, 678-741-2370, or you can go to our website under the services tab. You can click on retirement workshop and you can sign up there. There's some more information, but we really want to get into more of the why we're doing this. And I think you gave a great example. Mm-hmm. Like, I have plenty of money. I'm scared to death to retire. And let's talk about why that is. From just a financial standpoint, which is kind of the angle that I'll come at. We think about, do I have financial security? Will my money last long enough for my retirement? I mean, if you retire at 62, 65, most people need to expect that to be like a 30-year deal.
Right. Hopefully it's a 30-year.
You hope so. Plan for it, right? Your family will thank you if you plan for it well. But other things that come into mind are healthcare costs, rising healthcare costs, especially how much we spend in our last couple years of life on average. Inflation concerns, especially over the last couple years. We've seen inflation that just ate up people's buying power, right?
Yes, that's true.
Longevity, fear of outliving their savings or not having enough money to support themselves. And then all these things, if you sit around and watch the stock market, it's volatile. It's up and down, but it tends to be like a yo-yo going upstairs. It just takes a long time for these things to happen. So those are the financial things. And those are the things that we work with clients on every day from the financial advisor standpoint, making sure that their Monte Carlo is 95%, ready to confirms that they can retire. But what Retire by Design is intended for is some of the actual more important things, believe it or not.
Yeah. It's everything beyond the dollars and cents.
Right. So, and I think about some things when we think about like the top 10 things that people fear about retirement. It's social isolation.
Oh, yeah. There's so much loneliness in retirement, and which leads to a lot of other unhealthy habits as well. They've proven that there's a lot of alcoholism in retirement. And so loneliness, gosh, just being alone, going through retirement, not having the same community that you had when you were working in an office or working at a company, you had a built-in support system, community. If you don't have any community and you feel isolated and lonely, that makes it really difficult.
Yeah, we've all had a job, I bet, where we think, oh, yeah, I'm going to leave this job, but all these friends I've made will stay in touch. And then, like a month later, you go back and you're like, hey, we're going to have lunch together. And you had that lunch and they're all still talking about that job that you don't work at anymore. You're like, I'm not really as interested in these things anymore. I really like you guys. Liked when we work together.
Of course.
Right? That happens.
Yeah.
And so, and thankfully now, like I think about those early jobs before social media existed. Like I barely keep in touch with any of those people anymore. A few of them, we became connected through Facebook or whatever. And so I see them, but I haven't spoken to them in like 25 years.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I don't remember lots of the people from old jobs, to be honest.
It's true. Yeah. And so that circle of friends or work cohorts in many cases was our social network.
Yeah, you're spending eight plus hours a day, 5 days a week.
That's
for
right.
How many years with the same people? And now you have more time.
Yeah.
You have 8 to 10 plus hours of time that you need to fill. Plus you have relationship gaps, and now you have to figure out who are your people during the season.
Yeah, I have boredom here as well. And when you say you have 8 to 10 more hours a day to fill, I was like, oh my golly, I love mowing my yard, but I cannot do it that often.
Right. But you have to find meaning. And that's the part that I really, really want to help people with in retirement. Is the problem is they feel like I'm going to be bored, or I need something to do, or I'm going to be irrelevant. And I won't have anything to offer anymore because I was finding my significance and fulfillment in this job that I was doing. And I felt really good about it. What am I going to do now? And I think the beautiful thing is helping people figure out what they're retiring to and adding life to their days in retirement by giving them meaning again, helping them discover that meaning. What are you passionate about? What are you curious about? What do you want to master? And making sure you're spending time actually doing those things and doing it with intention.
I think about a woman that I worked with. She was a client here, and I just did hourly coaching, just one-off meetings. And she came in and she had kind of her situation, probably had decent money, but going to need a little bit of extra financial support in retirement. And she's like, I probably need to have a job of some sort. And I said, yeah, it would be really good for you. You're leaving a full-time job, at least do something. What do you like to do? She's like, I'd really love gardening. I said, what about a job at like Pike Nursery? Like,
perfect.
Wouldn't that be a fun, purposeful job for someone who likes gardening?
Yeah, something that you enjoy. As long as you find something to do, and you don't have to retire cold turkey. You could gradually retire, like you're saying. Quit the full-time job that may be stressing you out. Find something a little less stressful that you have more meaning and feels really good.
And I think about my dad too. He retired several years ago. He has been volunteering at the Siesta Key Chamber of Commerce for like 25 years.
Oh, wow.
I know.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that's another social
And he loves doing
circle.
it.
He loves it. It's another social circle for him.
Yeah, I think volunteering is huge in retirement, but finding like that niche where you connect with your passions, your talents, your gifts with some need in the world that you feel like, wow, I feel so fulfilled when I'm using my gifts and my passions connected with something that matters to me, to my heart.
Well, I call it a purpose-driven sunset career.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
I have a future purpose-driven sunset career. I'm all excited about it. All right. Well, good. What about this one? Loss of identity. That's a concern.
Yeah. Well, I think that goes back to like irrelevance. But yeah, if you find your identity in your work, which means like the whole time you are working to live, and then in retirement, you get to switch. You get to decide, I actually really want to live.
Mm-hmm.
And I want my days to coincide with my passions. So you kind of can build your identity back to the true essence and your true self. And what are those things that actually make you you? And find those things again, which sometimes those things have been put on a shelf for 20 plus years. And you always said, one day I'm going to get to this thing. And one day I'm going to do it. But if you actually start taking those things off the shelf and start trying them again or trying to see if you're good at them, you might realize, wow, I was really an artist all this time. Or I really gardening. I love to garden, spending time actually doing that and being outside in nature. And I'm finding a lot of my identity in that, or taking care of grandchildren. And now it's not your kids, so you don't feel the same level of responsibility, but you get the enjoyment factor. So there's a lot of ways you can find your identity again or reconnect with your identity. I call it rewilding.
Rewilding.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I know.
Okay, you just made me think of something. This is off topic, but I just happened to watch something. Have you seen that show Blue Zones on Netflix?
I have seen that.
Interesting,
they talk about Japan
right?
and Italy.
But all these people, so many of these people are gardening. It's why they stay so flexible and they have strength, because they're bending down to garden. It's one of the common things among these. I should help y'all. If you haven't seen it, it's interesting. They found like areas, regions of centenarians.
Yes.
With the
They live
most
over 100 years old.
100-year-olds. Yeah, like a few areas in the world. Very, very interesting though. But they like garden because you got to bend down, pick stuff up.
And you're in the
limber.
dirt, in the soil, and you're eating the fruits of your
Oh.
own labor. No, not eating the dirt. I mean, you could
okay.
eat the dirt. It probably won't hurt, but
Yeah, probably. Be gross. It's different. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I think that's good. You talk about loss of identity too. And I think about parents who are way wrapped up in their kids and all their activities. Okay. Well, the kids go off. That's good. We know that is a pivot point for a lot of people. But as we get older, closer to retirement, a lot of times that can be grandkids.
True.
And I think sometimes those grandkids can provide some identity for us, but those kids grow up too.
Exactly. You have to find your identity within your own self. And sometimes this big act of retirement can kind of pull you back in to kind of connect with yourself and find out, wait a second, without this job, without these things, without the doing, what is my being? And who am I in my essence? And who do I want to be?
Yeah, man. It sounds like at retirement you're on the cusp of, it's not too late, but these are things we need to be thinking about earlier, aren't they?
Oh, yeah. And you don't want to have any regrets. I think people should not live with regret. I think you definitely have to have an intentionality and a plan as you move forward in your life. And as you hit this pivotal moment, if you have a plan in advance, if you've created this retirement path, and designed it yourself in a way that you feel so good about, then you're not going to be stressed about retirement. I mean, I know that retirement ranks number 10 on 43 most stressful life events, and 20 of the other most stressful things happen in retirement.
Oh my, really?
So there's like 21 of the 43 most stressful things happen within that time. So being purposeful and intentional is powerful. And that can make a huge difference, I think, on how you feel about retirement, how you approach retirement. And yeah, you want to go in with confidence and joy and excitement because it is a joyous time.
Yeah.
And I think if you remember that this is an opportunity for you to create the life you want, then I think that makes a huge difference.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I think about, you're talking about planning this before you retire. And I think about Wes Moss's book, What the Happiest Retirees Know.
Great book.
You think, you listen to the title, you're like, well, I'm getting ready to retire. I probably ought to do this. And then you read the book and you see that he's talking about establishing social friendships, outside of work, hobbies, and other purposeful, meaningful activities. Obviously, there's things about having your house paid off and no debt and having half your kids living within 50 miles of you or stuff like this.
Yes.
But a lot of those really important things, hard to set up at 62.
Yeah.
Much easier to set up at like 42.
Exactly. And just try things. Sometimes it's important just to try some things, see if you like them. But one thing I'm really excited about this workshop is because you'll get to connect with people going through the same phase of life. same place. Share your fears with each other. Plus, there's going to be so much interaction and questions and discussion and worksheets. And I have all kinds of tools prepared and things that I've learned along the way because I've been life coaching for years. But retirement coaching has become a passion of mine as of recent years. And just as I'm studying this, I'm finding all these tools to bring and share with you. I can't wait. I can't wait to share them and help people create the retirement that they want.
That's amazing. Yeah, this is critical work. I think it's fantastic. So, okay, so we're going to launch this program really, really soon. It's going to be a couple times a year.
Yes,
exactly. Right? So again, you can find it on our website under services and then look for the retirement workshop. Or if you're like, I don't want to do all that, just call the office. The number is somewhere on here, 678-741-2370, or you can find the event on our Facebook page if you're all into that kind of thing. So you can register there. We'll talk through the pricing. There's a little fee on that. But how will it actually work? It's 8 weeks. Is that correct?
Yeah. You can sign up for just 4 if you want, if the first 4 expeditions, and then you can sign up for the next 4 as you're going. If you don't want to commit to 8 weeks up front, that's totally fine. You can also sign up for the first all 8 expeditions at once. It's not a price difference, but if you do bring your spouse, you get a discount.
Oh, okay, good.
And so basically your spouse is pretty much free. You're just paying a little extra fee for the printables. So there will be some light refreshments, but it's in the evenings and it's going to be nice. Just a nice opportunity to meet other couples going through the same thing, have great conversation that is specific and intentional for this phase of life.
Awesome. And it's held at our office here in Woodstock,
Yes, at
Georgia.
our office here.
So you can attend from anywhere. You just have to commute in for the in-person ones. We have a remote option as well.
In the future.
In the future, not for these starting out though. Okay. All right, great. Well, I just love this. I think it's great. These are the really important things. These are the passion things or the mental health things that come along with retirement. And again, you always want to make sure that you've worked with a financial advisor so that you can handle the inflation, the market volatility, the financial security, healthcare, all those things that come along with it. But that's a lot of what we do anyway. And our clients get peace from having that all covered. Yes. Right.
And integrating this workshop with your financial advisor, make sure that you've shared this plan with your financial advisor, make sure it's viable, something that you can actually do financially.
I'm going to go on 6 world cruises a year. And you're like, well, maybe. Yeah. And maybe not. But what are your parents who rented a motorhome and went for a week or 2 and sold it?
Yep. They bought a house. I think it was some 6 months that they lived in it, but they decided to retire multiple times as well, like you, Reed. Yeah, they're very happy where they are now. Yeah.
Well, and just to correct the record, I'm unretired right now.
Right. So, I know you're back working again.
I am. Yes. But and so that's the other thing. Retirement is not necessarily a forever decision.
Oh, true. It's not one and done.
Yeah, I know plenty. I feel like I know people who, they were done working, didn't have to work anymore, and went and did nothing for a while and said, maybe I'll go tutor at the local learning center. Funny story, because that's actually true. I owned the local learning center, and we hired a lot of retired teachers who wanted to work a few hours a week. It was really good for them. So, all right, I think it's great. And so now how to sign up. You can reach Tara, call us here at the office. And, I always remind people as financial advisors, we manage and rebalance portfolios. But the unique value is that so many times when we ask a question or when a client asks us a question, we answer, it depends, because it's true. But that's why we work so hard to understand our clients' individual goals so we can have all of these types of planning conversations that are totally unique and personal to each individual. So, Tara, thanks for being here.
You're welcome. I can't wait to meet all of you. Please sign up.
Yeah, it'll be great. All right. Hey, thanks for listening. We will catch you next time. Bye.
The Money Pick podcast is hosted by Reed Trigo, a financial advisor at Goodwin Investment Advisory. This podcast is intended to share information and perspectives, but should not be interpreted as legal, financial, or tax advice. The opinions shared by participants are not necessarily endorsed by the company. Goodwin Investment Advisory is regulated by the SEC, and the company operates in compliance with applicable securities laws and regulations.